Hello everyone and welcome to the start of my reading vlog. So I've already mentioned this a little bit, how I was going to be doing a reading vlog for the book that my horoscope told me I should in theory like. So this is just an introduction part. I am going to be starting the audiobook for Bowlaway, and I'm just kind of cleaning up my house today. It's Sunday, February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. If you are a Pennsylvania native, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. I guess it's a national holiday. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not paying attention to Groundhog's Day. I don't know if this groundhog even saw his shadow or not today. But anywho, my rambling aside, I'm cleaning up this house. I'm trying to kind of create a little bit more organization because it's been kind of a hectic few weeks. I've been relatively sick, to the point where like I've just had no energy to do anything. Like I've been going to my job and like wearing myself down. So I finally feel better, and I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm a little congested still, but I actually have energy. So I think I'm gonna throw some laundry in, and I'm gonna kind of just pick up around my house. I already vacuumed, so yeah. Anyway, while I'm doing that, I'm gonna start this audiobook for what my horoscope thinks I should like, which is Bowlaway. So I'll check back in a little bit and let you know how. Hello, everyone, and it is Wednesday, February 5th. It's been a little while, it's been a hot minute, and my life has been so chaotic since I started this vlog. You know, I definitely commend people who do weekly vlogs, weekend vlogs, both, consistently on their channel, because it's hard, especially because like I have a traditional, non-traditional job. I have a job that, I'm salaried, I'm working 40 hours a week. However, it's also untraditional because I have crazy hours. I have clients that I have to meet demands and their needs, and it's just wild. And this particular week, well, the last couple weeks at my job has been very crazy because we're growing our office and our people. So we're adding new members in, and we might be going to like 2 full teams, which is pretty exciting. But because of all of this has been happening and our referrals are still coming in for clients, it's just been like non-stop. Like I haven't had a break. And typically we were only supposed to have 6 at any given time. I currently have 7, and I'm opening another one next week because I was supposed to be discharging 2, and it's just it's a nightmare. It's a mess. And a lot of my cases are very demanding. So like at any given time, I can end up dropping off like 3 to 4 of these clients. But right now, for the next 2 weeks, it's busy. So because of that, I have not updated because I'm literally going from like 8 to 8 and I'm exhausted. And I haven't been listening to my audiobook as much because it's just been crazy. But I did want to check in. I'm making myself some lunch because it's right around 12 right now. I have to leave my house to go to another session for 1:15. So I'm making ramen, and I figured I would just chat with you while I'm making the ramen. So the nice thing about ramen is it doesn't really take much to make it. So, I don't know how you guys make your ramen. I literally just hit it and mash it up. So it's not really conducive to this video. But yeah, so I did start Bowlaway on Sunday, like I said, and I listened to, I think I'm like an hour and a half into it. It's about a 12-hour audiobook, so I haven't really made much of a dent. But the premise of it so far is it's definitely like literary fiction meets magical realism, for sure. So pretty much there's this like magical realism element where this woman who's like time traveled or something, and she claims she invented this type of candlepin bowling, kind of comes together and shows up in this cemetery. I don't really know why it's a cemetery, but it's a cemetery. And she shows up there with like a candlepin, a bowling ball, and herself, and she's there. And then it's kind of like following her, but it's weird because it's not like a traditional style. Like it's not really telling a full coherent story. Like we're definitely hopping around a lot. It's like, so far, I'm an hour and a half in, and, we meet some of these key players, and it's like about like her, how she ends up like falling in love and marrying someone who's like, it's set in like the early 1900s, I think. So racism is still pretty strong.
and she, you know, kind of falls in love with a man of color. It also seems like there might be some queer representation, because there's also like this group of ladies, like this woman who shows up out of nowhere, and she's kind of like this whirlwind that everyone's kind of attracted to. There's a woman, she really encourages the women to bowl. Like, she doesn't want curtains. Like, she wants like every women to have like rights and enjoy bowling the same way men do. So there's a group of women that she kind of collects to join a bowling league. And one of the women is like kind of smitten with her and is almost offended when she says she has a husband. It's just interesting, but it's not, again, it's not told chronologically, because you get her in the beginning where she like gets dropped in the cemetery and you don't even know why. And then she's kind of like this power to be reckoned with, as she like tries to say that she invented this type of candlepin bowling and she's going to bring it to the forefront in this society. And then you go into like, you know, it goes back to, okay, well, she ended up going out to find this doctor who helped her when she first arrived here, and they fall in love. And then you're going over to like the group of women. So it's an interesting story to be told. I just, it's hard for me to know if I like it fully yet because of the style it's written in. One of the things that I really love to begin with, though, is in the book, it's set in New England, and candlepin bowling, I believe it was like invented up in New England, so it's like kind of historically accurate. And it was just a fun fact to read this, because when I was in Salem 2 years ago, I love Salem, Massachusetts. It's a beautiful historic town. There's such like a rich culture up there, and like obviously the history with the Salem witch trials was very calling to me. So I've gone twice, and this past time we went candlepin bowling. And it was a really cool experience. It's very hard. Like, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. Because I'm, you know, fun fact, I've been a bowler since I was 3 years old. Traditional bowling, not candlepin. So I was really excited to try a different style of bowling, and I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. But yeah, so just like that little tidbit, and how that's actually personal for me, which I don't think the horoscope predicted that necessarily, but I kind of like, almost like this book and me have a camaraderie. Because of the bowling nature of it. So there's parts that I like about it. There's parts that I'm struggling with a little bit. So for now, I'm still trucking through it. I think I can be able to finish this one. It's definitely not something that I typically read. It's much more weird literary fiction. But I'm excited to keep going. So I apologize that this vlog is terrible, but I will be driving to my sessions, so I'm hopefully going to get like another hour and a half done of the audiobook today, and I will try to check back in tonight, because I'm hoping I'll have a little bit more free time in between my sessions and my case notes. So thanks for sticking around, guys. See you later. Hello everyone, and it's just me checking in. I am trying to get like myself organized to kind of film another video, and I just want to check in about the book. So I didn't end up getting to read as much as I thought I would. Man, guys, I don't want to complain, because I do like my job. It's just so busy nonstop. Like, I'm one person to like try to get my notes done and keep everything in order, and I haven't been able to do my notes in 3 days, and technically that's against company policy, but I'm always on top of things, so it's just weird. But as far as the book goes, I'm continued in Bowlaway. I think I'm only more like a half hour more, because I ended up taking a lot of phone calls as I was trying to drive. Okay, now that I'm actually settled here. So I ended up taking a little bit more phone calls than I anticipated while driving. So really, I didn't get much farther, but it is kind of comical. So at this point, like, the best thing that I just had to like share with you guys was there's this one scene where the main character is like first of all, she's pregnant, but like she's like, well, until there's proof, as in like she has a baby, like, I'm not pregnant. So she like goes about her life and like, you know, keeps bowling and all this stuff. But like, it's this one scene when she's like having the baby, and it's like almost like that like old-timey sitcom video where it's like so over the top. Like, that's kind of what's happening in the novel right now. And she like is so big in the stomach, and she's trying to have this baby, that she like tries to like move herself somewhere and gets stuck. And they refer to her as like that she is now the house, like her and the house have melded into one, and like you know, it's almost as if like they were never separated, and like, you know, saying basically that like once you have a child, like you do become your house. Like it's just, I don't know, it's just so amusing. So I just had to like share that part with you guys, because I felt like if anything is gonna convince you to read this book, it might be this part alone, because it's just so well sketched out, and you can see them like as if it was like a TV show. Like you could see them like skittering around and like trying to like go get this baby delivered, and yeah, it's interesting. So that's really so far I've got. I was hoping to listen to a little bit more, but like I said, it's just been chaotic. So tomorrow I'm hoping to get through some more, and at that point I will check back in. But I think for today that's probably all I'm reading. So until tomorrow. Hi guys, so just kind of checking in because I, you know, have had some interesting things to talk about with this book series. It is so strange. So like I was about 3.5 hours into this audiobook, and I was like, I don't know what the heck is happening. I'm like, it sounds like it's ending, and I was very, very confused, and pretty much was like, why is this an 11-hour audiobook if the book is ending already? So if the first, I guess what's happening, because I listened to like 2 minutes into like the second part, and yeah, I guess it sounds like it's going to be multiple stories in one book, because now it said, you know, part 2, and it's moving on to 2 other people now, or at least. So yeah, it's still an interesting book. It's kind of weird, and I really didn't know where the story was going, but I think now that I know that at least it's multiple parts and multiple perspectives, I might start to enjoy it a little more, because I was really worried about like what is happening if the story's ending, and like is there going to be a point to this? So I'm feeling a little bit more confident. Still strange, still interesting-ish, and the writing is very beautiful. It's just it's kind of not my typical read. So that's my update. I just figured I would let you know while I was on my way home and trying to listen to a little bit more. But all right, there we go. And today is Tuesday, February 11th. It's been a slow go with this book, and honestly, I thought I might have to quit it for a little while. I wasn't sure how things were gonna go, and I was getting very frustrated because I didn't understand like the concept, like what the book was going for. My last check-in, I kind of said I thought it was going to be on different perspectives, but it's not. The book is like throughout, it's third person omniscient, so you just kind of get little pieces of, you know, the people in the story. And I'm starting to understand. I think like the kind of theme of this book is that we have one woman who kind of comes out of nowhere, stirs up the town, and like irrevocably changes people, possibly for the better. So you're kind of seeing, you know, like you kind of go through her arc and like what she like started, and then as you're going through the rest of like the book, you're starting to see how deeply she impacted these people, you know, like how people might now stand up for themselves even though before they wouldn't, or, you know, the fact that, you know, there was one woman who lost her child and never thought she could be a mother again, and how like this woman Bertha, essentially how she kind of like influenced her to say like, you know, like, who cares, you can still have another child. So she did. So there's like a lot of like trickle down effects by like how one substantial woman can make a huge impact on people. And so far, because now I'm kind of understanding that that's like the vein of things, I'm enjoying it more, because I really thought I was going to end up not finishing it just because it wasn't capturing my attention. I just didn't understand where the story was going, but I think I'm finally getting it. I really like kind of the modern day implications that this book has, because like I said, there's a big factor of you kind of have her, she was born in like 1855 and like shows up in like the 1900s, and like I said, there's like this weird like little history that I think is starting to piece together. But she's very progressive, and the thoughts and the ideas of the time, you know, when like prohibition is going on and like this kind of stuff is happening in the northern states, that these thinking patterns and the way that they deal with the problems is very forward thinking, which, you know, is reminiscent of today and like problems that we're seeing today, you know, that you can handle it if you like act a certain way or do certain things, or just, you know, be unapologetically yourself. So I kind of like it.
it's kind of surprising because I went in up until this point not thinking I was going to like it. And I think I'm about 40%, 50% done. So I'm halfway there, guys. Woohoo! The other thing is just a tidbit, like I just like some of the weirdness of the novel at times. For instance, this one character, just all of a sudden, like he's a little like, he's kind of strange and might have like developmental delays, but it's not talked about or at least not known. And he just kind of randomly tells people like, oh, well, the Pukwudgies are, messing up this. And people are like, what? What's a Pukwudgie? And personally for me, like if you're a Harry Potter fan and you've like watched like the Ilvermorny stuff like that J.K. Rowling was presenting about the American school, then you would know that the American school like wanted to copy Hogwarts a little bit and like draw the inspiration, but instead of having founder houses, they took and named their 4 houses based off of like their favorite magical creature, and Pukwudgie is one. It's just such like an underrated, unknown mythical creature that the fact that this book just randomly throws out Pukwudgie and I'm like, I know what that is. It made me happy. Completely unrelated to Harry Potter, but you kind of have to remember that J.K. Rowling didn't make up a lot of this stuff. She took like real mythological creatures from legends and different backgrounds and used them in her story. So it was just kind of nice to see like some of those representations of like these little known characters and creatures in this novel too. So that's my update for today. I have a really busy day again. I'm not sure if I'll update more, but I have a lot of driving to do. So I'm hoping that I'll probably get between 2 and 3 hours of reading done today. So I'll check back in when I can. And until then, bye for now. Hey guys, so I'm here with my final thoughts for the book Bowlaway by Elizabeth McCracken. So this book has been an interesting ride, and I want to just kind of keep my end of thoughts brief because I pretty much talked about my thoughts throughout it, but I did listen to pretty much essentially 50% of the book since my last check-in. So today's, I think I said this, but maybe I didn't. February 14th is today. I finished the audiobook yesterday, February 13th, and surprisingly, I did end up kind of enjoying it the further I got into it, but there were still some things that like really weren't solved, and what I ended up finding out, which was probably the last 10% of the book, was that the book was really just a character-heavy, like, storyline. The plot really didn't matter, and, like, the plots were interesting, I think, in some places, and, like, you were following so many different characters, but it was just, I think I was misled, because I thought, like, the main character, Bertha Truitt, I thought her appearance in this graveyard out of nowhere was going to be kind of like the plot-centric point of it, but it really didn't go anywhere. The magical realism bit was just kind of like suspend your disbelief and accept it. A few times it was kind of like questioned throughout the novel, like maybe she's a time traveler, maybe like this happened, maybe she just ran away from her past, but it wasn't ever really dove into more than that. So that was kind of frustrating because I thought it was going to be more centered. And then really throughout the entire story, there was like one character who was like the only one to like fully follow like their entire journey from like the initial appearance when like Bertha Truitt hired her to like the end of the book at the end of her life. So I would really argue that it was her story all this time. But really kind of what I've said is it really was like this woman was the catalyst, like Bertha was the catalyst to impact everyone else's life in this small New England town in Massachusetts where Candlepin Bowling was created, and just how her interactions and her forward thinking and opinions that like not many women had impacted everyone, not only from the women but like all these other characters. There was a decent amount of diversity in the book. There was someone who I am pretty sure like they never said it on page, and it was I would say it's kind of taboo because given it's the early 1900s, but it did seem like there was a gay couple in the book. There was a couple, or there was a person with a disability, which like I said, I think it was like a developmental delay, but again, really wasn't like fleshed out in that manner. You just kind of like accepted everything that as it was. There was a biracial couple and then a biracial daughter who became of it, and like she ended up like kind of disowning all of her family history and becoming a rock star in a way, like a jazz musician. So it was just like really interesting to see all of these people with like the same roots go into so many different paths. And it's definitely generational because like you start with Bertha falling in a cemetery and falling in love with a black man, having a daughter, and then you thought, like, I thought it was going to follow their story, but then it doesn't. It follows, like, all throughout their story, and then, like, at the end of the novel, like, you see all the main characters you started with, like, all really old, and, like, their children and grandchildren, so it was definitely interesting. As far as, you know, if I would say that my horoscope pick was accurate, I'm torn. I definitely wouldn't say it was a total miss. I would not have picked this book up on my own, despite the fact that there was some interesting tidbits, like the fact that it's about bowling a little bit and that there's some weird aspects to it. I wouldn't have picked it up, though, on my own, and this is not going to be a book that I'm going to read again. It was just kind of interesting, fun, but the beginning of the book was so slow, and because I didn't know where it was going, that hindered my enjoyment a lot, but I'll give it a solid 3 stars. I think it was enjoyable enough. It's definitely whimsy, and if you like character-driven stories, you might end up really thoroughly enjoying this. I thought Elizabeth McCracken's writing was just great. It was lush and relatively enjoyable and easy to keep up with. There was nothing challenging about it. I was very much able to picture all of the characters, which is great when you have a character-driven novel. So I definitely think there was a lot of pluses to that. I don't know, like, I have never read anything from this author before, and I'm not sure if I will, but I might consider it, and maybe like a shorter length if she has any of those, because for audiobook this was 12 hours. I want to say this is probably between 400 and 500 pages if it was a physical copy, and if there was maybe one a little bit shorter, I might give that one a shot and see, because I don't think I'd want to commit myself to any longer books just because I was a little apprehensive about this one in the beginning. But overall, I think it was a good recommendation. Just a little weird for me, especially as someone who, like, I don't read a ton of literary fiction, but I have been enjoying the ones that I've been reading. So, like, it was just an interesting selection, I guess, as a Sagittarius and getting this book. I could definitely see the appeal because Sagittariuses are Sagittarians. Yeah, I think that's right. Sagittarians are known to be kind of unique and out there and adventurous, and that is kind of what this novel offers. But like I said, it's definitely much more character focused, and because of that, it's slower. So yeah, I mean, I think it was good. It was okay. I'm not going to read it again, but 3 stars, solid middle of the road, and yeah, I guess that's it. That's really all my thoughts on it. I don't want to go into more. I think I pretty much covered it throughout this vlog, so I don't want this vlog to be much longer than it needs to be. But there we go, guys. So I'm going to assume that no one has read this book because I've never seen it until it was recommended to me by my horoscope on a website. But if you have read it, what were your thoughts on it? Or, you know, if for some reason I inspired you to go read it, please come back here then and let me know. And let's, like, have a solid discussion, or DM me on Instagram or something and we could talk about the book, because so far I've never heard anyone else mention this, and now I, like, need someone to talk it through with. So do that with me, please. Otherwise, guys, I definitely think I would consider doing this again, maybe with a little bit more of a selection and more of a newer selection, because this lot that I picked from, a lot of the quizzes were older, but since this video has been made, I have gotten like 2 more emails that had this, like, what does your horoscope recommend you? And I was recommended something, so I was curious, and I might do this one again, but maybe we'll do it later in the year. So for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was enjoyable, and I would say this experiment was a win. So until next time, guys, I'll see you then. Bye.